Yeah, our road to blockchain was new to me, but it was pretty easy. There was a lot of documentation provided by Cartesi. I learned most of my knowledge on blockchain through the development of the apps. The team is constantly improving the documentation. We had bi-weekly meetings with the tech team, and they also showed a lot of new ideas. It was a really, really interesting experience. You know the classic Battleship game, right? So basically on Battleship, secrecy is very important because if you figure out the other player's boards, you just win. With an online version of Battleship, you have to trust that the server that's processing the game isn't doing anything nasty to you, that it's not showing one of your positions or anything like that. In general, there's a lot of cheating going on in Battleship games. Now, if you have a decentralized version like ours, it sounds like a contradiction in terms. For the two players to talk to each other and send the positions, we have to be open on the blockchain, yet you have to make sure that things are hidden, otherwise the game is over in no time. As a solution, we've used this protocol in which we encrypt the board configuration and send it when the game begins, so that no one can see the board, but also cannot lie about what was the initial setup of the ship's positions. During the game, there's trust. But if there's a dispute when player A has the impression the other is cheating, player B has to reveal what his actual board was, and then the blockchain will show who was right. Actually, what I like about the blockchain OS is that I don't have to deal with the blockchain that much. I'm using familiar kinds of programming languages such as C++, Python, JavaScript. And the Cartesi machine hides all these complexities of the blockchain, and that makes development much easier. Therefore, I've no real experience with Solidity. I just took a basic course to get familiar with it, and it's very limited. So the blockchain OS is providing me with the full Linux operating system, with the framework and languages and platforms that can run on it. So I'm feeling free to use them, and I don't feel the limitations of Solidity. To create a decentralized Battleship game is something that would be really hard to do if you had a smaller amount of processing power. Because you have to decrypt a whole board, then you have to go through all the moves. You have to reproduce all the game validates from start to end. That simply doesn't fit a single transaction, so you would have to orchestrate performing multiple transactions to perform this processing in chunks that fit into a blockchain transaction, making sure each transaction is correctly processed before proceeding to the next chunk. With the blockchain OS, this is possible because of its enormous processing power, and you can issue processing the whole game at once. All these great ships and custom assets can be turned into NFTs, of course. The NFT itself is generally decentralized because it's an asset on chain. But here's something I learned. What the NFT represents isn't generally decentralized. The game platform can turn a very powerful NFT into a terrible NFT by just flipping their meaning on the server without anyone agreeing in the community. A lot of times, players are frustrated because one of their favorite characters or items or something is nerfed, and they don't have a say in it. When there's no alternative, you can't keep playing the game the way it is. With blockchain games, you can stick with the version that you're playing, even if you don't agree with changes that a developer has made. Or you just create your own version. Balancing a game is something very important and challenging, and is generally done in a centralized fashion. For example, if I get matched with someone that has this super ship that I don't have, I'm probably going to lose because I'm overpowered. Traditionally, the developer will balance that for the game. But with blockchain and a decentralized governance, You can have players voting for balancing using a DAO. So players can decide to collectively increase the powers of a specific ship, or collectively make it weaker. That way, the gamer community is driving the balance for the game. And that's very different from a centralized game, in which you as the developer must be the warden of the game and make it balanced, and increase the power or something or decrease, and see that the game reaches some equilibrium. You now have the community to do that for you.